literal debris, how would anyone know? Number one, how would this knife even be made? Because it's just so many, it's plot holes on top of plot holes. He turned into a knife.
Fucked up, he turned into like a brick of metal, and they kind of like threw that brick of metal into the giant refinery that was building the Death Star, and it kind of he's just kind of like happens to magically work. Honestly, it's just like they got that. They never cheated. The speedrun wasn't faked.
The speedrun wasn't faked. Like, this knife had to have been an ancient weapon, but it also had to have been recent. Because the piece of debris, the Death Star this is the Death Star from the original trilogy. I don't know if it's the first or second Death Star, but it's one of them from the original trilogy. So it would have eroded away. The little spike they're using of debris from an exploded planet killer would have eroded away by then. But for the fact that they're relying on a piece of metal sticking out of the fucking ocean, it must have been a recently created weapon. But on the weapon is ancient Sith text. How is that possible?
Maybe someone who's just really good with their literature. Someone just...
The only Sith in this era are Palpatine, Snoke, who's a puppet, so not even a Sith, and Kylo Ren. And Kylo Ren's one of two people who are trying to find the knife, so he wouldn't be the one who made it. I don't see why Palpatine would do that. Well, I mean, he had the MacGuffin. Palpatine's MacGuffin, funny little pyramid that... The knife can be turned into a compass that points to a compass. The knife... You use the MacGuffin, which is the knife, to find another MacGuffin, which is the compass. But the knife itself is also a compass, but a different type of compass. It's just layers of bullshit. It's just... he dropped it, so... Yeah, why did Palpatine make a compass to his exact location? Which is Exegol, a planet, where he buried his funny mini Death Star lasers.
In case he forgot what it was, honestly.
And Palpatine wanted one of two things, either Rey to kill him and take his place, or for him to take Rey's life energy, because he can do that, and basically restore his crookedy old form. Yeah. I'm old, so I don't want to be. I just remember their explanation for why Palpatine returned was literally the meme quote. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. That is their explanation on how Palpatine returned. That is the only explanation we have for how he came back.
I saw some fucking thing that was a good meme of it, and it just kind of like fell into the death.
Somehow, Palpatine returned. Now, I believe they're attempting to explain Palpatine's return in The Mandalorian, or we're going to, but kind of... I believe they were going to, but they skipped over the plot line to replace it with Moff Gideon's personal vendetta. I believe they pushed the whole Palpatine cloning explanation onto another former Imperial officer that's probably going to be shown later in either the Ahsoka show or the next season of The Mandalorian. But, like, they were going on this whole, like, you've seen The Mandalorian, so you know about the whole cloning thing they went on in... yeah, they were trying to get fucking Baby Yoda's blood to have Force clones, which you can't clone people who are Force sensitive and have them keep their Force powers, and basically it just don't work. So they were going to get the blood from Force sensitive and use that for Palpatine. But in The Mandalorian Season 3, they explained it as Moff Gideon wanting to, like, basically clone himself and have a Force-sensitive army of him. Basically, a army of Moff Gideons that are all Force-sensitive. Which I don't think was a bad explanation, but, like, they could have done some of that a little bit better in the finale. They could have just explained it a bit more, given him a reason why he didn't do some of the things he did. I'm gonna hope you don't care about The Mandalorian Season 3 spoilers, because I just did some.
Yeah, just say I don't think it really matters.
Do you mind?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have to kind of live with things, especially things that I really like. That how liking popular things leads to spoilers. But I like it.
So basically, in The Mandalorian Season 3, they do a lot of things. They got a lot of things done. Most of it's good. I think it's good. Not as good as the other two seasons, but still good as a whole. In terms of other things, they handled the Darksaber pretty poorly. Like, the Darksaber rules, like, the rules behind it have always been confusing. Or, like, vague more than confusing. Like, very vague and not fully explained. But they just kind of did some things that I don't think would count in terms of the Darksaber rules. I don't think what they did would apply. You've seen the Book of Boba Fett, right?
Yeah.
So remember in the Book of Boba Fett and in The Mandalorian Season 2 when fucking the Din Djarin, the Mandalorian funny guy, gets the Darksaber. He's made it pretty clear he doesn't want the damn thing. And in Season 2, I believe he tried to just give it to Bo-Katan, who said, "Oh, well, I don't want this." What?
I said Bo-Katan's the
No. Bo-Katan is the bitch, fucking bitch from Clone Wars, female, blue armor, Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah, she's in the finale of Season 2 and 3. I mean, she's practically the main character of Season 3. Which is something that everyone complains about, which I don't think is a bad complaint, because it's a show about Din Djarin, not Bo-Katan. But she's practically the main character in Season 3, which... Basically, it's hard to explain how I feel about that, because, like, I'm fine with it. I know it shouldn't be there, but I'm fine with it because I like Bo-Katan's character. But, you know, Din Djarin should be the main character of his own show.
forget that maybe the people who have a show should be the main characters.
The Boba Fett. Well, the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian episodes were good, but he shouldn't have been there.
Imagine just not being into existence of your own show.
But, Din Djarin was there. Din Djarin was present the whole time, but, like, I'd say he took a backseat role in this season. Even though he is meant to be the main character, he took more of a backseat role as opposed to Bo-Katan, who did most of everything. Yeah, Din Djarin gets fucking captured by the fucking big droid thing. The big droid thing takes the Darksaber, throws it at the ground. Bo-Katan picks it up and kills the droid. And then they later use that as a technicality to how Bo-Katan now owns the Darksaber.
Pick it up and just, like, you won by combat or something. Like the owner. No, but no, you should just do it.
Their explanation was technically, since Din Djarin, air quotes, lost in a battle to the droid, and then Bo-Katan killed the droid, Bo-Katan technically has the Darksaber. Which doesn't make sense. There's no universe that's even possible. Like, the droid isn't even a combatant for the Darksaber. Din Djarin... Okay. It's pretty well implied that in the Darksaber rules you have to declare, or at least it be obvious, that you're fighting for the Darksaber, for the ruling of Mandalore. It is a fair one-on-one duel. That is how it's meant to be, to gain the Darksaber, which has been shown repeatedly. And let's just say the Mandalorian just randomly being sneak attack, completely captured, overwhelmed, and then knocked out, drugged by a droid doesn't really count as a fight. It was literally like, he walks up, he picks up a Mandalorian helmet, which was set there to lure any Mandalorians, and was literally like, the droid is like fucking huge, literally claws around him and captures him and drugs him. It's not really a fight. It doesn't really count.
I'm talking about it's more of, well, if the droid, even then, by those rules, the droid defeated him, the droid would have full command over the Darksaber. The droid would be the Mandalorian, not Mrs. Pretty Feet. She wouldn't just be able to walk her face up. She's like, walk, oh, look at that. Picks it up, kills the droid. Well, I mean, I killed him with the weapon that he technically was the ruler of.
Yeah, I mean...
The droid is the one to win, if anything.
The droid would have been... The droid would have been, but the droid actually... Well, since it's a fucking droid, it didn't care about the Darksaber, and clearly made no attempt of getting at the Darksaber. And so Bo-Katan just kind of... Okay, it's not actually illegal or uncommon for either side of the fight, in terms of for the Darksaber, to wield the to just pick it up and kill the other with it. I mean, Maul did it. Like, at the very, in the Clone Wars, Maul fucking picks up the Darksaber and beheads Pre Vizsla, who was, you know... Have you seen the Clone Wars?
No.
There is a lot of the Clone Wars. Clone Wars, very, very good. Basically, it's not uncommon for what Bo-Katan did to happen. It's just the way that a fucking droid technically had temporary rule over Mandalore, and then Bo-Katan killed the droid, which would... I'm trying to say, basically, the droid never would have really possessed the Darksaber because it wasn't a fight. Yeah.
That's a fucking silly concept. The thing has to be won through combat. The Mandalorian didn't want it at one point, so I heard my memory. So it's like, could you not just loophole the rules? Guys, we're gonna get a droid. It's gonna kick me in the ass. I'm gonna drop the...
Oh yeah.
You're gonna pick it up.
Like, that was the technicality that they used. That was the vague technicality they used. I mean, it was kind of like... Okay, the best explanation I could think of for that was the fact that the only people who knew what actually happened was Bo-Katan and Din Djarin. Bo-Katan wanted the Darksaber, Din Djarin didn't, so he's just giving it to her. But they made up a random technicality and were vague about said technicality while explaining it. Like, they were like, oh... They said it in a way that would make sense had there not been context that it's a fucking droid and it fucking captured him. They said, basically, while explaining it to the other Mandalorians, they were all like, fucking... we were in this cave, and the, I was defeated by an enemy, and she defeated the enemy that defeated me. Which means she is of, you know, the claim of rule of the Darksaber, which would make sense had we not known the context of the fact that it's a fucking droid and there was no fight. This is so bizarre.
You could just fucking take those little, like, I don't know, what
I can't find a fucking clip of the fucking droid capturing Din Djarin. Like, I'm trying to get a fucking clip to send to you so you can see what the fuck happened. I just can't fucking find one.
I didn't throw at all, trust me.
I didn't throw. Okay. Until I find an image, I'll give you a verbal description. This droid tank, or like two tanks next to each other, with its like legs width. Okay. Yes, browser. Because I'm inefficient. Season 3, episode 2. Droid. Let's see if I can get a good image. From the credits art. Okay, let's see if I can get an image of the fucking actual thing. Ah, yes, Lizzo. I wanted to see Lizzo. Yes, this is who I want to see right now. I would like to see Lizzo right now. This is who I am after. I'm after Lizzo.
Other than Finn, what other characters in Star Wars are there that are actually, like, black?
Riva.
Burnt toast black.
From the fucking Kenobi show.
But, is it burnt toast black?
Yeah.
And I can't episode before.
I can't think of them off the top of my head.
Because there's Finn and there's Shriva. I wasn't gonna say much of like that. Neither of the two ever existed or were black. And Lizzo was the first black in Star Wars.
Lizzo was the first one. I'm not surprised it's hard to get images of things these fucking days, because Disney Plus is fucking stopping everyone from taking screenshots. There's like fucking barely any fucking screenshots of anything.
Take a picture with your phone while it's happening.
That would involve me closing the application,
Yeah.
which is a bit of an inconvenience. Okay, whatever, you're a smart cookie, you can use your brain and context clues with the image I'm going to send you. On Discord, if you can access Discord. This is from the end credits. Basically, big ass fucking droid. Compared to Bo-Katan, fucking regular human. You seeing? You see that thing? Okay, so that thing, if it wasn't already like large and overpowering enough, buried itself stomach. This, as I said earlier, the stomach area has like a capturing system with like claws to grab at you, and so it like practically spring locks you. It buries itself under sand and then springs its whole body up and around its target, and that's what it did to Din Djarin. It was basically literally a trap. It wasn't a fucking fight. I mean, you gotta watch the episode to realize how ridiculous they turn it into.
Oh no! Oh man, they were defeated. I'm just gonna have to go like shoot them and take the my notes. Not even for the forces, it just snaps the slap, just grabs it out of their hand. Oh no! Goodbye.
And also what they did in the finale. Okay, so let me. You know Beskar, right? Yeah. The strongest fucking metal in Star Wars, the Mandalorian steel. The shit literally strongest shit ever. The Mandalorian, who is wearing Beskar armor of like you know, you've seen the Mandalorian, you see his armor is like pretty top tier. His armor is not even of the same quality of Beskar as the Darksaber is, because the Darksaber was, it's an ancient weapon made by the first Mandalorian Jedi, and then it was, you know, taken by some of the Vizslas, fucking random Mandalorians yanked it from the Jedi Temple and used it as symbols for leadership and all that. But like, basically, the Mandalorian's armor isn't even close to the purity of Beskar that the Darksaber's hilt is made out of. So you can imagine the Darksaber's hilt is pretty fucking strong. And in The Mandalorian Season 3, Moff Gideon just breaks it. He just breaks it.
Breaks the thing, casually breaks the thing that could literally deflect a lightsaber.
Like, it's not like a fucking story difference where it's like, oh, in the Clone Wars it was said that it was Beskar. No. In the Book of Boba Fett, it is stated that it is of a purity of Beskar that Din Djarin has never before seen. In the Book of Boba Fett, so the fucking timeline that they're following as of the most recent time in Star Wars. And Moff Gideon, while in his funny new, he has like a fucking, he's using like his new Dark Trooper suit thing. It's like half Dark Trooper, half Beskar, because they're on Mandalore, and then they're taking Mandalore. Moff Gideon, funny guy, doesn't want that to happen. Little crazy here and there. He has like an alloy suit. He has Beskar alloy suit. So Moff Gideon's suit is strong. It's like decently strong. It's not as strong as pure Beskar. And he just crunches it in his hand. Just the Darksaber, of a purity of Beskar that Din Djarin himself has never before seen. He just crunches it in his hand, like the hilt. Just
end of the Darksaber. Just like that.
I don't know, maybe. The crystal might still be intact. But like, basically the whole thing is, Bo-Katan was holding the Darksaber. Moff Gideon grabbed her fucking hand and crunched it in her hand, so her hand would be fucking broken with the force required. To fucking crunch the Darksaber hilt, her hand would be fucking gone. But I don't think he even has the strength to break the Darksaber, especially the way he did. Like, it's not like he cut it up or something, like, melted it down. He literally crunched it. He had it in his hand, he squeezed his hand and crunched the thing. Like, that's not possible.
Reinforcement.
If it was a normal lightsaber, I may be able to excuse it, because he is in, like, a Dark Trooper. He's in his new variation of the Dark Trooper. The Dark Troopers were pretty strong. And he made him, armor and its strength, so he used Beskar, or Beskar alloy, with his Dark Trooper suit to create, like, an exoskeleton and a suit. Which, he's pretty strong. I mean, he just kind of dies, but he just kind of dies. People theorize that that's not actually the real Moff Gideon, because, again, the whole cloning thing he said he was doing 3 seconds ago, Din Djarin destroyed all his clones, but they might be bringing him back for a 4th season in a row. Yeah. Just... he's just not strong enough. I don't think anything's strong enough to crunch the Darksaber's hilt.
Yeah, I was gonna say, cause like a fucking blaster shot. It's like they can just casually, regular Beskar can just casually take that shit,
just
deflect it, just get fucked up.
Yeah.
The Beskar spear, just toe to toe with the fucking lightsaber.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most, powerful hand weapons in the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Just
And the Darksaber's hilt, of a purity of Beskar stronger than the spear, Din Djarin's armor, and anything fucking else, because ancient weapon, ancient Beskar, less shit mixed in it. And it was made by a Jedi.
powerful Beskar, probably in the galaxy.
Just crunched. It was crunched like I crunched those mangoes in my hand. I mean, I could have theoretically forgiven it if they, like, melted it down, but even then, it's stated that the only people who know how to melt down and work with Beskar are Mandalorian armorers. As it's Beskar, it's a pretty fucking tough material, so, you know, tough to melt down, tough to work with, tough to crunch in your hand.
I don't really think how metal works. It would allow you to punch it behind it. Actually, it's just like a fucking hollow or shit.
Can't just crunch it in your hand. Like, again, if it was a regular lightsaber, he probably could have, considering his exoskeleton, but it's something, like, you can't just crush Beskar with Beskar. I mean, you can, like, okay, the spear, the Beskar spear, was said that it could pierce Beskar, since it's made out of Beskar. Beskar can beat more Beskar, but that's just because it's the same material. And, you know, the spear is a sharp weapon. But in terms of, like, the actual strength of the materials, we have Moff Gideon's exoskeleton, which isn't pure Beskar. It's not even close to pure Beskar. It's probably, I'd say, half, maybe 75%. And we have the Darksaber, which is of a higher purity than even the current best Mandalorian armor, which would be Din Djarin's. So, something that's not even fully Beskar versus purity of Beskar that's not even available.
Completely unmatched.
And he just crunches it in his hand. It just... It just doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. You can't do that. Like, that's as a total my biggest gripe about this season, is the fact that they handle the Darksaber completely wrong.
So even in season 2, I think it's not much how
It's not possible. Oh wow, a fucking whole fucking battalion of skeletons trying to kill me.
looking at the screen, I realized, but if you're standing casually, they added a breathing. They made it, your items bob up and down as if you were breathing, but you're standing still and you're looking at it. I hold a block and then look at it and you're standing still, bob up and down and breathing.
I think I have bobbing off. I have view bobbing off. I don't think it'll do anything. Do items move when you move around in your hand? Yeah, I have that off. I've also like mostly disabled armor glint, so fucking I didn't know you could actually like do this, but like the enchants, the little glare on the armor when you have enchanted shit, you can turn that down. Which I don't really like how the armor glint looks, so I just put it on milder. Well, that's an old Minecraft. I mean, look at new Minecraft. Everything just looks wrong, everything's made wrong, everything is wrong. It's all wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong.